Welcome to Midnight Movie Talk on this blazing hot Thursday evening here in Los Angeles, where we had temperatures over 100 2 days in a row. And we're in September now, and it should be cooling down. But instead, we have all picked up and moved to Phoenix. That's how hot it is here. It's unbearable. But we're ready to go here on this Thursday night. Thanks for joining us here on MMT. Let's get to the top story this evening. What are your expectations for Don't Worry, Darling? That's the question I have for you. Hit me in the comments right now. I am going to see this film next Wednesday. It debuts Monday, Venice International Film Festival. It'll be there. And then we'll have some idea of how good this film is. I've stated repeatedly the importance of this film being not just good, but very good to great or better because of the PR nightmare that is currently underway for everyone involved with this film. I mean, you look at what's happened to Olivia Wilde. You look at what's happened with Florence Pugh and their relationship. And then you throw in the Shia LaBeouf deal. Let's pull it in here. That's not what I wanted to do. Go back and do what I wanted you to do. Uh, so here's the thing, is you have Warner Brothers dealing with a massive PR problem. But how do you fix that? I can tell you. You fix it by having a quality product. So if this movie comes in and ends up being really good, then we're going to be fine. And so is Warner Brothers. Here it is. Here, article from The Hollywood Reporter from, I believe it was early yesterday or late last night, one of the two, either way. Here we go. Venice Film Festival is almost underway. The press conference for Don't Worry, Darling is going to be the hottest ticket at this year's Venice Film Festival, no question about it. You got Florence Pugh, you got Harry Styles. Can he lead a film? I mean, obviously he's the co-lead with Florence, but it's a major role for him. We've only seen him in small things. You know, you go back to Dunkirk, but obviously that was not a featured role. That was very small. And we've seen him do some things, but, obviously the end credits scene for Marvel. But this is his chance to show that he's an actor, and a lot of people are scrutinizing that clip that's out there. This is our chance to lose it all. We're going to lose it all. So here's what's happening. There's a lot of controversies, right? First, there was the controversies. It says here that Florence Pugh only made $700,000 while Harry Styles got $2.5 million. I find that impossible to believe because at this point, Florence Pugh has to be higher than $700,000 for a film. Even if you go backdate it, she has proven to be a name, an up-and-coming name. Now, we're not suggesting she's like a $10 million actress yet. She will be. But you look at Black Widow, you go back Midsummer, you go Little Women, you go to that wrestling film. There's so many different things that Florence Pugh has done that has had a measure of success, if not outright success. And I think at this point, 700,000 is a joke. So I don't think I buy that part about her getting 700 and Harry getting 2.5. I could see both of them about the same because for Harry Styles, you're going to pay for the name. You're not paying for the actor. You are paying for the name, right? So as you go through here, they kind of cleared that up and said, okay, that's going away. And then you had the Shia LaBeouf, who she said, Olivia Wilde said, we fired Shia. And then it is Shia or Shia. Someone please confirm that for me. I go both ways. Tomato. This guy now comes out looking, this guy was dead and buried. And now you have him coming out looking good because of the situation here where Olivia Wilde said, you're fired. And then he's like, no, I've got the voicemails that said I quit. So all of a sudden, Shia is back on the radar of Hollywood. Isn't that the weirdest thing, how things can change just like that? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he was dead and buried. And now we're talking about him like, hey, look, he's kind of going to make a comeback. Let's see what happens. So you have that situation, and you have the fact that apparently Florence Pugh is only going to talk to the media at Venice. She doesn't want to do any additional media for this film. Now, we can break that down and say, well, she's shooting Dune 2 right now with Villeneuve. So at the point, she really can't get away and do a whole press tour for Don't Worry, Darling. Obviously, it makes sense. Do it at Venice. That's the world premiere. But all eyes on Venice Monday for the first reactions of this film because Warner Brothers is hoping it is an awards film. There's not a whole lot they have to work with this year outside of the Batman and Elvis. They really want to have another film in there. And this would be it. But it has to be great. Not just good, has to be great, okay? So we're going to find out. I'll see it Wednesday. We'll do a stream on Wednesday. Tell me your comments right now, your expectations for the film. Gabriel, good evening to you. Hello, good evening. Welcome. Don't worry, John is the most anticipated movie of the whole year, and I'm with you. I'm super excited for this. My expectations are really high. So are mine because you have Olivia Wilde coming off of Booksmart. And I think when you watch Booksmart, you see a director who has a really cool style. And I think when you watch these trailers, you have Matthew Libatique, who is cinematographer du jour. What a hell of a talent. And you have him there working with Olivia. You have Palm Springs, which, if you haven't ever been to Palm Springs, is a gorgeous place. Not in the middle of summer like we're experiencing here in LA, where it's 110, 115. Hell, Palm Springs is probably 125. But in the fall, in winter, Palm Springs is amazing. So you have a really cool setting, you have a wonderful, very gifted cinematographer, and you have an up-and-coming director. And then you have the curiosity factor with Harry Styles, and icing on the cake clearly is Florence Pugh, who is one of the real top talents that is surging ahead when it comes to young actresses in Hollywood. So my expectations are high too, and I think that's the thing. And Jennifer, I think it's going to be a good film. I hope it will be. Okay, I hope. But remember what I said going back to our first initial discussions about Don't Worry, Darling months ago when it got that date of September. The September release date gives me pause because I always say if you have an awards viable film, you don't want to have that go too early. You want to save it so you release it as we get closer to the awards window into voting. So as we get into October, November, certainly December, at that point, the votes are coming in fast and furious, and you want to be fresh and hot because everyone has recency bias at the end of the day. It's just the reality of it. So if this film is not great or just okay, it will go nowhere when it comes to awards. Not Florence, not Matthew, not Olivia. I don't know about Harry. I don't think that's going to happen at all, just based on the reaction from the initial stuff, but maybe he surprises. The film will be dead if this film is not great from an awards perspective. Box office-wise, it's got a $20 million budget. That's fine. I can work with that. They can get that back. I think there's enough fans of Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, and the fact there's nothing going on right now. We're going to get to that in a minute. There's nothing in the multiplex. I mean, so you're building towards a couple of films that are going to outperform, I think. One is Barbarian next week. I've told you that this film is going to do better than everyone expects because, number one reason, it's got buzz. Okay, but that's not the number one reason. The number one reason is because it has nothing in front of it. Every time a film succeeds above where it should, and it outperforms, as I say, it then is always, almost always, universally the beneficiary of having nothing in front of it. Because you don't want to have a big film open right before yours does because it sucks all the oxygen out of the marketplace. There's nothing in the marketplace. Like, I usually go to the movies on Thursday night. I don't even want to see anything. I don't even want to see Honk for Jesus. I mean, I really don't. I think that film's going nowhere. It's going to open it. Could it even be less than $1 million for that film? And you have the Jaws, 3D, which I'll probably go see because what else is there to see? Classic film, obviously. But that's why Barbarian, that's why Don't Worry, Darling are going to outperform because there's nothing in front of them, and that is very important. And Gabriel, absolutely. Libatique is absolutely one of the best cinematographers working today. I think he is doing The Whale. I've got multiple on him. I got to go to Awards Ace and look. I've got all the cinematographers there. I'm pretty sure he's got multiple films, and I believe that's the other one. I got to get all my cinematographers locked into my films. I've got the directors locked in, but cinematographers, we're getting there. But he is a hell of a talent, and you got him on this film. That's good. One thing that happened in Venice today was the end of Bardo in the Oscar race. It's 3 hours long, right? We're going to we'll skip around a little bit here because we are talking about Venice. Todd, thank you for joining, by the way. Venice is going on now. You're getting the awards films, the potential awards films. The hopefuls are debuting in Venice, Telluride, and then Toronto. These are the three big awards festivals as we roll into fall. And Bardo's a 3-hour movie in Yuritu, and I just don't think this thing's going anywhere. And I think the reviews were middling, so it's pretty much dead. Netflix cannot promote that. But that said, let's go ahead. I'm going to skip ahead to something I wasn't going to show you till right now. But speaking of Netflix and award season, our first screener of the year is here. And when I got this, I go, you're kidding, right? You're kidding me. You think Hustle is an awards film. Okay, and first of all, the quote at the top, the best performance of Adam Sandler's career, that quote only exists in a world where Uncut Gems does not exist. That's the only world that exists in. This is not an awards film, but look at what they do. Okay, so these, as you guys know, I get the award screeners. That's what we have back here. And I'm going to have a task for you in a moment. Here it is, front, middle, bunch of stuff here, old school DVD, and then you've got the back with even more quotes. I mean, they loaded it up. They spent cash on this. This is not an awards film. I want to make sure that's 100% clear. Hustle is not a great film. It's not an awful film, but it's also not a great film. And there's no way that he's going to be a contender for Best Actor. I mean, like, I'm talking, if it's not zero, it's a 0.1% chance that he's in the race. But I admire Netflix for trying. So even though we say Bardo's dead, guess what? Here comes the Bardo screener. This is your job right now. Where do we want to put Hustle? Okay. Where do we want to put it? Look behind me and pick a film that you want to see disappear, because we have to start putting new films up. So pick a film that you don't want to see up there anymore. Maybe Zola. Not that I'm leading the witness here. Maybe Zola, which I like. It's up there. White Tigers. You see White Tiger? That's not, we could put it, that's a good spot for Hustle. Tell me what you think. It's up there, right? So next time on Sunday night, I will pick a spot for Hustle. That's the first award screener that, major one that came out. Although, again, not an awards film. Let's get back to the comments here and see some more things. Again, I want to know what you expect for this film, okay? For Don't Worry, Darling. Because I think that this has a chance to be a hit as long as it's very good. Not good, not average. Very good to great. Okay. That's what we're looking for here. So hopefully we can get to that point. Real quick, let's go to Ken here. Adam Sandler's best performance in Rain Over Me is amazing. Pearl Jam cover of The Who. Adam Sandler's best performance is certainly not Hustle. Okay. We can argue about, there's other things, right? Rain Over Me, and we can go to Uncut Gems, and he even did that Noah Baumbach movie, right? We can go pick any of these. We're not going to pick Hustle. Okay. Nice try. Not happening. I want to get into one more thing, and then we'll get to more comments. This was hilarious to me. When are we going to say no to the Russos? Speaking of Netflix, and in this case, Amazon. You guys ready for this? I didn't even realize this happened until I fired up THR a moment ago, and I go, wait, what? The Russos got paid what? Another $200 million fiasco for the Russo brothers. They have a show they're creating called Citadel for Amazon. And after a grueling year-long shoot, completing cuts of a pilot, and a showrunner exit, it's one of the most expensive shows of all time, and it's in total turmoil because they have to spend more and more money. So now you're talking about a $200 million show that the Russos are now in charge of $200 million. And by the looks of this article, go read it on THR. The Russos have delivered a version of The Gray Man for streaming series. Does it get worse when I say that? When is someone going to say no to the Russos and stop giving them $200 million to make garbage like The Gray Man? I mean, it is. It's such a bad film. Okay, really top-notch horrible. There's a first. And then you got this series that Amazon's paying $200 million. Hollywood's going to wake up and say the end game shine is off, bros. It's done. We are not going to pay you $200 million for anything. You should owe us money. You should work for free. And even then, I would say, Russo brothers, you're in timeout until you learn how to edit a film. Oh no, there go the invites from not just Netflix, but from Amazon. And when the Russos and I eventually bump heads at some event out here in LA, that's going to be a fun night. I'll be sure to come on after that and tell you guys how it went. Let's get into one more thing and we'll get into comments. It's another slow weekend at the box office. I mean, we are talking about a weekend, Labor Day weekend, where we have nothing big that is hitting theaters. You have Jaws, IMAX/3D, obviously the reissue. You've got Honk for Jesus, that is streaming as well. That's going nowhere. And then you have the second weekend. You have No Way Home coming back with some added scenes. But none of these things are big, right? Do you remember what happened last year? Do you remember what film debuted Labor Day weekend and went on to gross over the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, $94 million? Shang-Chi. And $94 million for the long Labor Day weekend. This weekend, we'll be lucky if we get one film to get to $5-6 million. Maybe No Way Home. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to see it again. I've seen it twice. Was it 3 times? I don't want to see it again. But I mean, there's nothing else. So maybe it pops to 5 or 6 million. But this is another weekend. What happened? What's Hollywood doing? They're killing theaters. This is not good for AMC, for Regal. We already know Regal's in trouble. For Cinemark, for anybody who shows movies theatrically, this slate is straight trash. And until we get to Barbarian next weekend, we are in trouble. I do want to mention this before we get to comments, and we're going to get right into it. Barbarian. Next week, we're going to do a very special Barbarian Thursday night Monday movie talk, midnight movie talk. And let me tell you why it's crucial. You have to go see the film. I have a number of issues with the film, and I need to drill down on plot points when I do this. So you need to go see Barbarian Wednesday night. They're having sneak previews, or Thursday. And then Thursday night back here, Jeff Ewing will join me, good friend out here in LA, very smart guy. We're going to break that film down. We're going to talk spoilers. We have to with that film. And then don't worry, darling, we will do a stream on Wednesday. So we'll have a Wednesday and a Thursday stream next week on MMT. Big week. I can't wait. We're finally getting some stuff to talk about because it's just been dry. It's been dry and empty and just tumbleweeds. Tonight's skit, by the way, Chelsea. Doing very well this year so far. Off to a good start. Let's get right to the comments here on this Thursday night. Again, thank you for joining MMT. Really appreciate it. And let's get to whatever you want to talk about. I am open for whatever happens. Steven Rodriguez, will Netflix send the Gray Man Award screeners? If they do, oh my God, I'm gonna try to get as many as I can from other media members that I know, so that I can create a Gray Man FYC DVD collage behind me. It'll just be like one whole side of the MMT studios will be all Gray Man, fronts and backs all the way across, because it's a vital part. It's played a vital role in the growth of the channel, the absolute destruction of the Gray Man. We have to feature it. So I hope they do. In place of Zola or Argo. Now listen, I know why you're Argo. We can't, because Argo is a best picture. We can't do that, okay? Because that's a best picture, and we're ultimately it's awards talk, and we're gonna get super awards heavy here soon, okay? We haven't, because it hasn't really started, but trust me, once we get into awards season, you guys are gonna be like, okay, I'm tired of talking about these awards films, but I'm gonna make sure you see the ones you need to see, and the ones you don't need to see, forget them, okay? But I think that Zola is a good option if we put it there. I think it looks good because you got the hustle, you got the Moneyball connection, right? Like that. So I think that's the spot, even though I do like Zola. Ultimately, when you look up at the wall and you're looking at films like Joker, Endgame, Moonlight, I mean, Lamb's a favorite of mine. I like Zola, but I mean, it's not at a level. So I think when you start to look at some of the films you see behind me, there's some of my favorites here. Ghost Story, Star is Born, huge film, obviously. Summer Soul, Oscar winner, Get Out, Dune. It's hard to cover those up. Now, if I get rid of Zola, I think we can live with that. I think we might just go. I think that's where we're going to put it, right there. Okay, so that'll be on Sunday. And as we get more, we will introduce them, and then you will vote a film off the wall. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but if you want to go Zola, just hit me with a comment that says Zola. If you have another one, let me know. But I think that is the best choice. Oh no, Matthews, there's no way we're putting it in front of WW84, because we have said since the inception of the channel that Wonder Woman 84 is a film that I will always hold near and dear to my heart as an award screener, because it's the most laughably absurd FYC screener ever sent by a studio, because it's arguably the worst CBM of all time. So the fact that they made a screener gives me hope that they're going to send a Gray Man screener, because if Wonder Woman 84 got one, then of course they'll get that. If Don't Worry, Darling isn't an awards contender, perhaps The Wonder turns out to be. That's right. The Wonder is also a Netflix film. Florence Pugh. It could be Telluride's got that, right? Telluride's got that. And what else they have? I know they have a few things from Venice. I think they have Empire of Light, which is the Searchlight, Sam Mendes. There's a bunch of stuff that's hitting. Here's what you guys know how I do this, okay? As much as I want to believe the hype or not, my record of watching films and telling you if they're going to be contenders or not is I don't know, spotless. It's close. Okay. I'm very good at identifying if a film's going to make it. That's why when I got this in the mail, I said, not an awards film. The Hustle's not an awards film. Like, just no, waste of money. So when I watch these films, just know when you come here, my track record's good, and hopefully you guys, I will point you in the right direction. We're going to find out, and I'd love to hear early hype, but there's a lot of times that I've seen early hype, and I watch the film, and I go, what are we doing here? We've had that conversation so many times here on MMT, where people get so excited about a film because they're the first to see it, and you need to have some distance where it doesn't matter if you're first, second, third, 6 months after it comes out. You still have to view it through the same lens, and that's a skill you have to learn how to deploy, because a lot of times people just get excited. It's like, oh my God, it's the world premiere of Empire of Light. Oh, this is Sam Mendes' best film. Whoa, wait, whoa. Wait. If you're going to say that, that's you're covering a lot of ground right there. So you got to watch that. The hyperbole is at it's a dangerous place for hyperbole right now, right? It's as Scott Menzel said the other day, and I said before him, and Scott, it's masterpiece season. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. Like, no, it's not. There's very few. The Russos were the homeless. For those of you who didn't know this story, Ken, thank you for reminding me. I'm headed down Sunset. I was running over to run errands, go to the gym, whatever. And I'm going down Sunset, and I look over, and there's this guy, and this is the funny part. He's literally in front of this giant mural of Bullet Train, like a huge mural on the side of a wall. I tweeted that out too. He's in front of it, and I'm looking at him. I just looked real quick. I was on the phone with somebody, and I look over a second, and I just see him go like this, and I go, what the? And all of a sudden I hear this boom, and whatever was thrown, it looked like almost a softball, hit the back of the car. Thank God it didn't hit the window. But I was like, living in LA, I mean, it is pure awesomeness where you have homeless people throwing things at your car. I mean, luck, there was no damage. But if he would have hit the window like with like a rock, it would have shattered it. But I'm telling you, listen, let's not try to do too political here. Let's just say this. LA, in some spots, has deteriorated to the point where it's not recognizable. Okay, when I moved back here in 2017, 18, I remember going to Hollywood, and I was taking, actually, of all things, improv classes in Hollywood. And I remember parking in a certain area and walking to the class. Well, guess what? Now, if you park in that area, there's a good chance your car is going to be A, broken into, or B, something's going to be done to it because, first of all, there's going to be a tent outside of your car. It's just unfortunate. I know there's no easy answer. I'm just telling you that LA has deteriorated in parts. Don't let anyone tell you it hasn't, because that's garbage. I still love this town, but there are parts of it that are just like, it's sad. It's just sad for obviously the people involved, but also the community, because the community is made, just not as inhabitable because you've got people throwing things at cars. I mean, and what are you going to do at that point, right? I mean, the police aren't going to do anything. So thank you for bringing it up, Ken. I've just had gotten over my PTSD. Thank God there was no damage. If there was damage, I really would be like scarred. But because it was kind of laughable, he just threw something in my car. I'm seeing it Tuesday night. Oh, you're going to see it Tuesday. You're going to see Don't Worry, Darling. They are offering it to me on Tuesday, but it's during the day, and I think I'm going to be a little jammed up, so I'm going to see it Wednesday. Either way, we're going to do it live here. We'll do it live next Wednesday. Don't Worry, Darling. And by the way, anytime, check the community tab. If there's an update, I'll tell you there, or on Twitter, I'll say, hey, we're going to go live tonight for Don't Worry, Darling. Maybe it's Tuesday, but I'm going to guess Wednesday. Jeff, good evening to you. I wonder if National Cinema Day will bring the masses to the multiplex. $3, right? I mean, but what do you want to see? I mean, even at $3, I think you're going to see a number that pops for like a family film. So maybe No Way Home does something. It's projected at about 5. I think it could get closer to 7, 8, 9. If it take in National Cinema Day, and then maybe there's a lot of Marvel fans that are bored. And then remember again that Shang-Chi a year ago made $94 million. So it's not about the audience not being there. It's about the films and the product not in the marketplace. It's not that the audience doesn't want to come. It's that they're just like, yeah, I don't want to see any of these films. I mean, I didn't want to go tonight. There's always something I want to see. There's nothing. The next film I want to see is Don't Worry, Darling. I've already seen Barbarian. And then I want to see The Woman King, which I'll see. And then then we're really waiting until October and these awards films. All right, next comment. Good job. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us tonight again. I don't think Barbarian will help out theaters, unfortunately. It'll be lucky if it earns 15. But listen here, Aaliyah, let me tell you. 15 is actually a good number. I mean, I think that initially this was a film they had at 7, 8, and now if you're talking 15, which is exactly what I have it at, I have it at 15. I said 15 million, and I think that because of the fact it hasn't had anything in front of it, and it's got good buzz, and it's going to be a film you'll want to talk about. That's why I can't wait to do an MMT about that film with Jeff Ewing here. We're going to break it down. So it's imperative that you see the film, because when you watch that stream, we are going to drill down on specifics and issues I have with the film. And you have to see it, because otherwise I'm going to ruin it. It's a film that you want to see because people will ruin it for you. See it Wednesday night. They're having early screenings, those early access screenings, or Thursday. And then when you come here on Thursday night, you'll be ready to go. And I think you're going to be, you'll have comments. Oh, I know that. You're going to have comments. Are you excited for White Noise? Mixed reviews. I like Noah Baumbach a lot. You know, if you ask me for a director, I think I've even sent this in a tweet, a year or two ago. If you ask me what director I want to see their next film, it's Noah Baumbach. He's in my top 5 directors I want to see. Now, there's good Noah, there's middle Noah, and I don't know if there's bad, but there's just mixed or flat. And this sounds like it might be that. I haven't seen it. I don't know. I'm just going by. There's not that initial rush of praise. If you ask me what's my favorite Noah Baumbach movie, I'm going to go off the board and I'm going to hit you with something. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know what I'm going to say right now. It's Mistress America. There's something about the magic of that film, the way it captures New York City, the old New York City. And just the coming of age of Lola Kirk and Greta Gerwig. And I think some of the screwball stuff at the end doesn't work, but there's some real moments of incredible insight in that screenplay. Like when I met Noah Baumbach at the premiere for Marriage Story, I went up to him and I didn't want to, I as much as I like Marriage Story, and I think it's a good film, I don't think it's a great film. I think there's really good aspects to it. But I went up and I said, hey, I just want you to know that I think that Mistress America, some of those lines, especially at the end, and I hit him with one of the lines in the movie. And he just was like, wow, like this is like no one's ever said that to me. And that's something I excel at. I excel at going up to these people, these directors and stars, and going, let me tell you something. I loved you in when I met Elizabeth Olsen. I was like, I loved you in Mary, Marlene, May, whatever the hell it was called. And she was like, really? Yes. Are you kidding me? I love that movie. And we had a conversation about that film because very few people ever talk about that. They come up and say, oh my God, Scarlet Witch. And think about this. If you get stopped and talked to by people all the time, and what do you think they're going to ask you? Scarlet Witch. And then you go, wait a second, let me pick something that's different, but it's also authentic. Then you might get a little bit more out of it. So when I saw Baumbach, I go, I loved Mistress America. And he's like, excuse me? But it's a great film. If you haven't watched it, please do. That's homework, Mistress America for you guys. I don't see so much potential in Barbarian. Gabriel, here's why I see it. Okay. I've seen the film. That's one. It's going to be a conversation starter. The average person is really going to like it. And it also is the beneficiary of being horror and nothing else in the marketplace. So I think that the number one thing is it has nothing that's been around. Okay, nothing is around right now to take away any. It's going to have so much oxygen in the marketplace for whatever the next thing is. And Barbarian is the next thing. So it's not so much. It is about Barbarian, but it's really more about being in the right place at the right time. That is what Barbarian is right now, as the only wide release next weekend following successive weekends of wasteland material. You're only going to benefit from that when that film drops, whatever the next thing is. And Barbarian is that next thing. And it is going to be controversial. And I can't wait to talk about it because I have issues with the film. I do. A major issue with the film. And I want to see if you have the same issue, but I can't do it until you see it. So next Wednesday, your homework is to see Barbarian. Thursday, see Barbarian, whichever day, and go see it. Is it on Tuesday? Oh, you get to see it Tuesday for the screening there? Oh, you're seeing Barbarian. I thought you were seeing Don't Worry, Darling. Oh, I've already seen Barbarian. I've already seen it. I'm not going to tell you, Ken. I'm going to tell you on the stream. You need to come on the stream, and I'll comment away because I want to hear what you say about this. Gongro, I watched Rogue One in IMAX twice. It is absolutely one of the best Star Wars. The Vader scene is incredible. The emotion, that rush, the adrenalinic rush that you feel at the end when they're running through the copy through, the hallways, the corridors, and then Vader is there and the lights go out and there's the save. That is masterpiece stuff. I mean, it is. This film, the highs of Rogue One, and I would say the film across the board, there was a forward thrust to Rogue One and a momentum to its storytelling that is really first rate. And when you look at the fact that it's two directors, right? You got Gareth, and then you have what's his name, who finished it up. You got the two of them because remember, one got rid of a director and came in and did reshoots and cleaned it up. Considering the fact that it's a product of reshoots and two directors, Rogue One is one of the greatest achievements in the history of film. And that's not hyperbole. Think about that. The chances of it not working based on two directors, reshoots, and also having to fit into the Star Wars universe, the chances are very low. So it's almost like I called it the other night, a cinematic miracle that this film exists and as good as it is. I pray that you got the chance to see it because I think it's gone. I think it's already out of IMAX. I think it was a 1 week deal. That's why, whenever I see one of those things in IMAX and I say it's worth your time, you got to go. Like, you can't wait. It's not one of those, I'll see it next weekend. You have to go that week. You got to. And Rogue One was unbelievable. I hadn't seen it since 2016. I loved it in 2016, and everything that I loved about it was confirmed in spades when I saw it again back on Wednesday night. Matthews, good evening to you again. This theatrical pause from CBM is a good thing. Did we not say this on MMT? We said exactly this, right? Because Black Adam and Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, they're going to do well because we've had a break. And that's exactly right. You need in life a time to regenerate yourself and certainly interest. When you do, let's imagine you love pizza and you eat pizza every night. You're not going to love pizza as much. If you eat pizza once a week, once a month, you're going to go, oh my God, it's the best thing I ever had. That's what CBMs need to be. Do not eat a CBM every night or every week. Wait, space them out. And that's why I said this refractory period between Thor and Wakanda Forever is everything for Marvel. And the same for Black Adam for the DCEU. Whatever, we needed a break. After Thor, we needed a break. And we're getting it. And now Black Adam's going to outperform, and so is Wakanda Forever. Because all this nothingness that we're experiencing and we have experienced for the past month is regenerating interest in going back to the movies. Because ultimately, even a casual moviegoer loves to go to the movies. And they just want to see a film they love, like Top Gun Maverick. Okay? They want to see something that makes, they want to go see, obviously, but also makes them want to return. And we need to get something like that because we haven't had anything like that. We had some cool films that I really like Emily the Criminal's great. Love it. Really strong film. But I'm talking about a film that's going to be an appealing film for 4-quad, for older audiences, along with younger, like a Top Gun Maverick. Everyone's in on the picture. And the next time we get to that, it's probably going to be Wakanda Forever more than Black Adam. Okay? Because listen, Black Panther, we know, phenomenon, the money, it's 700 million domestic, which, by the way, Top Gun Maverick's going to be at more than likely Monday. It's going to beat Black Panther. But Black Panther's a bigger franchise than Black Adam. Black Adam's the first of a film. First in the series, obviously. It's part of the DCEU, and we know that. But DCEU, okay, over time has proven to be less popular than Marvel. And also, you have a new character that you're debuting. So Wakanda Forever is certainly going to perform better than Black Adam. There's no question about that. None. Even if they're the same level of quality, it's still going to be Black Panther 2 just smashes it. There's no question about it. You're saying get rid of Zola? Yeah, I think Zola's the one. I do. Any other, please feel for, again, anything you got there. We're going to replace one of the screeners with Hustle. And I think, really, honestly, I mean, listen, we can put it to a vote right now. I think when we do that, we have Hustle and Moneyball, right? That's a good 1-2 punch up there. Both sports movies. Moneyball, it just destroys Hustle from a movie making and overall quality aspect. I mean, good Lord, it's not even a contest. But I like that. Yeah, I think that works. And plus, it doesn't deserve to be like Hustle. Like I said, not an awards film. The last place I'm going to put Hustle's like in front of Get Out. Like Hustle's a film that belongs like on the very edges of the screen. Where's the, like that, like right? It's like what I can sort of see. It says Hustle. What does that say? Hustler. That's where it belongs. It doesn't belong front and center. Like here it is. No. It's not that good. We save the area that's right here. This is prime real estate. These are either films I love or films that were hugely successful, awards films or box office films. You have Blade Runner 2049. You got Lamb. What's beside Lamb? I forget. What the hell's behind that? Hustlers. I love Hustlers, but you can't really see it because my head's blocking it. But you got all these big films. I'm not going to put, Annette's a film I love, by the way. There's a film that's a cool. See, these are things that I love that weren't necessarily big, huge box office success. Adam Driver and Annette. Oh my God, what a performance! That Shia, is it Shia or Shia? You guys still haven't told me. The Shia news couldn't have come more at a worse time. At this point, I think success with general audiences, we're talking about Don't Worry, Darling. Everyone who doesn't know about the drama, it's the only way they can pull away from the drama. Here's how you erase it all. You make sure that Don't Worry, Darling is amazing, that it is a great film and it delivers everything that you're looking for in a film that is, of this nature. It's never going to be a gigantic hit like I keep saying Top Gun Maverick, but I mean, you know what I mean. It's not going to smart quad film. It's none of that stuff. It is a small, it's an elevated art house film, right? Don't Worry, Darling. Elevated by the fact you got Harry Styles and you've got Florence Pugh. Both fan bases are rabid and they'll deliver even if the film's not good. But you take that and then you add it to a quality film and then you add in element number 3, which is what? The fact there's been nothing in theaters anytime in the last several weeks. Then you get the recipe for a film to pop above where it should. Right now, I would probably put that at for an opening number, let's go with like 15 to 17. But if it's really good, 20 plus. If it's bad, 12 minus. Okay, there's my range. It's a huge range, right? Quality is quality here is really important for this film. I can't say that enough. Okay, so you're saying Tanzania, people just don't care about the drama. I guess listen, I would agree that the fans don't care. Harry Styles fans don't care. Florence Pugh fans don't care. They want to see the movie. But there still is a bad PR thing going on here. I mean, look, the article even says it. I mean, when you go look at the Don't Worry, Darling article, and you can just Google it on what do you call it? I think I just lost it. You can just Google it on THR. It's basically saying that everyone knows the PR for this film has gone south, but it all can turn around as soon as it's a good film. That's the key. Superhero movies. I saw Fall. What a cinematic experience. Oh my God. Hunter completely carries the movie on her back. She totally sold to do something crazy like this. The reveal completely caught me off guard. Fall is going to be one of my guilty pleasures of the year. I've seen it twice. I have not laughed at a film as hard as I did in Fall in the vulture scene in forever. I mean, maybe since Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder, I'd die. That's a great film. That's a tremendous comedy. I mean, film that I just lost it. Firestarter, I laughed. No. The vulture scene in Fall is epic to the point where both audiences that have had me the misfortune of having me in the audience are now like, God, that guy's loud. When he laughs, he is really loud. But it's legitimately hilarious to me. The vulture scene is unreal. I'm so glad you saw it, and I wish more people had seen the film because it wasn't received as well as it should have been. I know it's trash. I know it's a B movie, but who cares? Go see it. It's fun. Gone Girl again. Next time I see a Deep Fury Road. Oh, no, I'm not wrong. I might need to go back and rewatch it, but my initial reaction on that film was the emotion of the film was not there for me. It just wasn't. It just feels like an exercise in effects and just adrenaline rush. It doesn't feel like anything that I really felt a connection to. Cherry, Gray Man, and Citadel. Cherry's so bad. Yeah, thank you, Tansy. That's a great comment, Star, because literally you have the Russo brothers destroying Apple, then moving to Netflix, detonating that, and then moving to Amazon Prime and imploding that. I mean, they have literally wrecked 3 studios with films that are so far beneath their production budget. I mean, the quality is so far lower than that $200 million price tag on The Gray Man. I mean, The Gray Man would be a bad film at $20 million. At $200 million, it is epically, ishtarishly horrendous. That is a new word that I am copywriting ishtarishly. Do not steal it. Here's the reality. And I said this when I came out of the Gray Man and I thought about that 200 million. For $200 million, you could get 10, $20 million films. Don't Worry Darling is 20 million. Would you rather have 10 Don't Worry Darling type films than one piece of trash Gray Man? Yes. How about if you take it even further and say, I would like uh, $2 million films? What are we looking there? We're looking at 100 $2 million films. I mean, you can make a film for 2 million. It's going to be micro budgeted, but my point is that they wasted so much money, and now you have them destroying Apple, Netflix, and Amazon Prime. I will not be going to any more awards events from Apple, Netflix, or Amazon Prime, but whatever. Who cares? It is what it is. When will Hollywood stop giving them chances? That's what I said. That was my banner. I literally came up. This is my thing tonight. It was, when we gonna say no to the Russos? When's that gonna happen? Because it needs to happen like now, okay? Like, stop paying them money, okay? Don't do it. Stop giving them money. Joshua, good evening to you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good day for the Chelsea kid, isn't it? This is the third. By the way, listen, guys. I'm huge on my football kits, soccer. For those of you in the States, I've now switched to football and kit versus soccer and jersey. But I literally, just so you know, this jersey did not come with the Premier League patch. I literally ironed that on. That's how big of a kit freak I've become. I'm a kit customizer at this point. I will literally add patches. I become like a NASCAR driver with these things, but I love them. They're great. They have color, they have personality, and now I'm a fan of football. Okay, and our football. You convinced me with Barbarian. You need to see it, guys. This is the homework. You need to see Barbarian, because we're gonna have an awesome conversation about this film next Thursday. Like, because Jeff's very good at breaking down screenplay. I think I'm good at tech, and I think I'm getting better at screenplay. But Jeff is really next level. And when we get the two of us together, we're gonna talk about my problems with the film, his problems, and or what we liked and disliked, and then I want to get your comments. But it's gonna be very, very, very spoiler heavy, because this movie has to be discussed in a spoiler fashion, because if it's not, it's a movie that's not going to be fun to talk about unless we can really drill down on details, plot points. So go see Barbarian Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You have 3 days next week to see it, and then we'll do the stream on Thursday night. By the way, the production company today, Barbarian, was like, tweeted at me when I said we'll do it on Thursday. They go, just wait at least till Friday. I'm like, man, we don't do Friday streams. I'm at Yard House hanging out. But occasionally we've done Friday streams, but I feel like we can still do it on Thursday, and it'll have replay value. But I want to have you guys here because I think there's a lot to talk about. You interviewed Elizabeth Olsen from Martha That's what every time. I think it's, Martha, Marcy May Marlene, right? I think that's right. Forget it. The M movie. Listen, Ken, thank you. I had this conversation. You guys are like, Erick's a stalker. He's creepy. Listen, whatever. Ken saying it. When I met Elizabeth Olsen at the Wind River party, here comes the story again. Erick's going to tell you. She was drop dead. Like, we're not talking about like sort of pretty. We're not talking about me. It's like you look across a room, in a movie, and you go, oh my God, like this is like true beauty. That's Elizabeth Olsen. And you notice it too, Ken, right? I mean, it's just like, it's next level. It's full wattage. And she was also super sweet, which is great too. But that's, I'm sure, my favorite thing when we were talking about that movie, I said, she asked me, do you think the end of the movie is real or in her head? And I said, I think it's real. Right? The sounds, I think it's real. And she goes, so did I. And I go, good. That was a good answer. She agreed. I go, thank God. Maybe she just said that. She probably like, no, I wasn't. Okay. Well, see, that was nice of her. Becky, the other lead character we're talking about, now we're back to Fall. Some of the shots of height were great. It looks good. You buy the conceit that they're stuck on top of this tower in the middle of Bakersfield, which, by the way, is probably like 150 degrees because we're 110. In fact, I'm starting to beat up and sweat here. It is so hot. But Bakersfield, or actually Lancaster, whatever, they're all up there in the middle of nowhere. That's where they shot Fall. It looks good. It's got a goofy plot, and then the vulture scene. Fall is great. It's going to be in one of my favorite things of oh, wait a second. Oh, man. Oh, Mark, you're going to hit me with my quote that I love. Hold on. Love this quote from Mr. America. It drives a friend perfectly. It's only people who don't have jobs, don't have anything to do, that are always fucking busy. Like, what are you doing? Isn't that the truth? The quote that I actually hit him with is at the end of the film, and that's another one. It has so many great quotes in that movie, Mistress America. At the end, Tracy, who is Greta Gerwig, turns to Lola Kirk and says, they're having their final little thing, and she says, "I just wish I could exist in feudal times where your lot in life was already determined." Because I think one of the great challenges that we have, I'm paraphrasing, is that you are told you can do anything, so that you end up like feeling like paralyzed by choice, where people in the old days said, you're going to be a carpenter, you're going to be caretaker, whatever it is, that's what you did. You didn't have these opportunities to create whatever you want to create, and that creates paralyzation. And when I heard that quote, I go, holy, that is so insightful. And that came from Noah and Greta, who worked on that script. So I'm glad you loved the movie. I loved it too. It's great. Really, really a wonderful film. My favorite of all of Noah Baumbach's film was Mistress America. Rogue One is so good, isn't it? Greg Fraser cinematography. That's the thing again. Yeah, Tony Gilroy, right? He's the one who took over from Gareth. Is you've got the cinematography ultimately is Greg Fraser, and those shots, like even the initial shots when you're on the planet and the evil ship, the Empire ship comes in, and it's like those shots are beautiful, and that's Greg Fraser. You can just see the way he shoots a film. He has a very specific watermark, almost like a visual watermark to his things. You don't even need to see it. It's just got a little bit of Greg Fraser at the bottom corner. You can just see the way it is. And when I watch Batman, I see it all the time. It's the way he shoots a film, the angles, the light, all that stuff. Tony Gilroy is the reason I'm excited for Andor. They showed like 10 minutes of Andor, like a scene that was like it wasn't that great of a scene, but then they showed the trailer. It looked pretty good for a Disney Plus series. I mean, it didn't look quite theatrical, but it looked pretty solid, for a show. Because then you watch Rogue One right afterwards and you see a film. Right? Whenever you watch those Marvel series or the Star Wars series, the Disney Plus stuff, it always has just a little bit of a lesser, right? It's a little bit minus on the look and the feel because it's a TV show. They're not going to pour the money into it. But then again, we would say that the Gray Man has a minus look to it, and it costs $200 million. So it's not always about money. This is constantly, years from now on MMT, I will still be bashing the Gray Man. Years from now, we will still be doing that. Is 3,000 years worth it? No. Nope. No Way Home, Invitation. I would actually, in this order, I would pick The Invitation because you haven't seen it. I like The Invitation. It's solid enough. And then I have not seen Orphan. I would say 3,000 years below The Invitation, which is insane. I'm recommending, a vampire film that should be totally forgettable over a George Miller film. But 3,000 years is just flat emotionally. It looks really cool. It's got some really nice costume set design, production design, all that stuff, but it just doesn't have any emotional thrust at all. All you have to do is watch Michael Clayton to know that Tony Gilroy. Michael Clayton's one of my favorite films. If you ask me to list what are 10 films you love that no one talks about, Michael Clayton, and it's the direction. It's not just it's Clooney, it's Tilda, but it is also direction on Michael Clayton. The way that story's told, right? Forward, back, forward. It's really cool. It's such a great film. If you've never watched Michael Clayton, that is a truly excellent film. And that's another recommendation from me, but I agree with you 100%. What a great film. Totally agree. It breaks from CBMs are totally necessary. 100%. You got to have a break. You got to. This guy owns. Welcome. $25 million opening weekend guarantee for Smile. I think that's high. I hear someone else said that today, and I just feel like that's too high. No, I'm going to give you the positives here. It's a horror film. It's the end of September. We're going to get a nice little break. It'll open like around Don't Worry, Darling. Here's why I would say be bullish on Smile. First of all, it's got to be good, okay? If it's good, that's going to always help, okay? So that goes without saying. But the fact that it showed in front of Top Gun Maverick the entire summer, whether it was the teaser or the full-length trailer, you got so many eyeballs on your product that now know the name of the film, Smile. I think it has a really good, simple, clean title. and it's Paramount. They know how to, they don't usually lose. Paramount's a winner. And I just go back to the Top Gun Maverick eyes on product. And I say Smile will be an outperformer. I don't know about 25, but I'll definitely say, definitely be bullish on it. Yeah, Mark, 10-minute warning, by the way. I'm literally, my eyes are starting to close. It's hot. I'm tired. 10 minutes. Mark, and yeah, I want to support National Cinema Day, but it's a stretch to find something to go see that I hadn't seen. I chose Bullet Train in a VIP room where tickets are 25. Yeah, I mean, Bullet Train's, if you're going to watch a film and the filmmaking of Leach's filmmaking, I love the direction of the film. I'm not saying the screenplay is perfect because I don't think it is. And it's too long and there's too many characters. But the direction is really strong. I love the visual flair of David Leitch. I saw the trailer for the Smile movie when I went to see Nope. It looks horrible. Okay. Yes, but doesn't it look a little intriguing though to me? Smile looks intriguing. It looks like something like, I mean, we get the idea. It's going to be, a Ring kind of thing where she sees something and it's basically the Ring with you, instead of looking at a tape, you look at someone smiling, then you're going to die. Okay. But horror works. It sells usually pretty well. Even The Invitation did okay at 7 million. I mean, it should have been higher, but The Invitation's not great. It's fine. But when you talk about Barbarian and you talk about Smile, you're talking about bigger hits than The Invitation. We're gonna find out. I'm really curious, but I think Smile's not 25. That's too high. I'll go 15 to 18 right now, and then I'll push up. But right now, I want to hold it there. $3 tickets equal $3 tickets equals homeless people going to the 16. I mean, I guess. This town. Yeah, the one thing I gotta say, listen, so you guys know I'm in Burbank. If you don't, I've only said it a million times. Burbank is, what's wonderful about Burbank is, and I don't want to sound elitist. Okay, so I'm gonna say this is how I can say it. It's got a strong police force, okay? And one of the things you get with a strong police force is you get more control of what is allowed and what is disallowed within the community. And I will say this, there's no question that if you go right outside of Burbank's borders and you go into LA, instantly you have a homeless problem. As soon as you cross the line into Burbank, there's none. So, make what you will of that. I'm just letting you know that I personally like where I live. Joshua, don't you dare take down. We're not. No, it's not going anywhere. It's not. I think we've settled that Zola is going to go and Hustle's going to go. Let me see if I can just kind of. I don't think it's going to stay. I'll just put it there. We'll just put it up there. It's a test run. We'll affix it to the wall here soon. Magical hair. Thank you. I actually cut it a little shorter on the sides, got it nice and tight. It's hot. I almost shaved it off. I almost went with like a 1 or a 2, and then I go, because last time I did that, I went really short. It was like really short. And I go, as soon as I did it, I liked it for like 10 minutes, and then I said, I wish I had more hair on the top. So I am really hesitant to chop it all off, but it's definitely shorter than it was. It was a little bushy, so I cleaned it up. Never replace Dune. Dune's not going anywhere. Dune's one of my favorites. Dune, what could as much as I love the Green Knight cover, but I think the Green Knight's a boring slog of a film. And I love David Lowery, so don't try to say I don't love David Lowery because I have Ghost Story right here. I probably could get rid of that. Lego Movie I love, Up I love, Annette I love. French Dispatch I like a lot more than a lot of people. Defy Blood's not so much, but it's got a cool box cover. I could see the Green Knight going away at some point, but we'll see what happens. Listen, first of all, the screener has to be cool, okay? Because if we're going to put a new screener up here from a film that who knows if it's going to be big, it better look good, okay? Because I think a lot of these boxes are badass. Like the Rocket Man FYC is sweet. It's got this orange glow to it. Proudest Young Woman, pretty cool. I don't love that film as much as a lot of people, but like Zero Dark 30, big awards film. Boyhood's down here. I got a lot of films up here that I really like or were successful or have a special place in my heart and your heart, such as Wonder Woman 84. So it's not going anywhere. I promise you that it's going to stay. It's not. I will not get rid of it, Josh, okay? 5-minute warning, 5 minute. Bless you for the Annette love, Eric. I'm the only one I know who will die on the hill for that movie. It's astounding. See, this is why the fans of MMT are rabid, because they know that when I love a film like Annette, or ghost story that is a genuine love, and it's not because I'm told to love it or it's cool to love it. It's because I genuinely sat through a net and or ghost story, but since we're talking about a net, and was blown away by the experimental nature of it and the bizarreness of it all. I mean, when you look at what Leos did on that film, and it all really rides on Adam Driver and delivering and buying 100% in on Baby Annette, a doll, for the majority of the film, and you believe the doll is a character, and obviously the whole film is so wacky, but it works because of Adam Driver and because of the direction. I love a film that takes bold, huge swings, and that is Annette. And for me, A Ghost Story, I will always love the film. I think the end of A Ghost Story, the conclusion of A Ghost Story symphonically is as beautiful and just haunting a finish as I've ever seen in a film. That's how much I love that film. I remember sitting through the end of A Ghost Story where he is trying to get the note, right? And he sees the passage of time, and you're seeing like future to past, everything's just flying by. And then that song is that song, that track from the soundtrack is unbelievable. I still have it. It's called Safe, Safe, Safe. That track is one of my favorites of all time. And this is gonna sound kind of morbid. When I move on to the next plane, I'm not even kidding you, I want Safe, Safe, Safe to play so that I can like almost rewind my entire life as that song goes. That's how much of an impact that Ghost Story had on me. The end of that film it's a masterpiece of an ending, and it is spiritually something I rarely experience in film, and that's why I love the film. That's why Ghost Story's never going anywhere. And if you haven't watched the film, forget the pie. Don't talk about the pie scene. Talk about the conclusion of A Ghost Story and getting the letter out of the wall and the passage of time and safe, safe, safe. And then you're talking about just, we say mind blowing all the time, but I remember just sitting there going, I have been moved at a level that I can't recall being moved like this, like by a spirit, essentially. And that's why the movie will always be on the wall, always. But I love having films like that, because that's ultimately what I want to do here. Also, guys, as we get ready to wrap, we have about 3 minutes here. We'll finish up. Is when we get here on MMT, the one thing I want to do more than anything is direct you to films that I truly love. And you guys know, if there's one thing that I do and I don't do, I never overpraise a film that I do not like. Okay, that'll never happen. Anything that I say is good, it comes from me firmly believing it, and in knowing, I think, in what I value works. And so it's very much an organic, authentic experience. You're never going to see me say I love this movie and then all of a sudden go, you know what, the movie wasn't that good, because then, like, what are we doing? What are you doing? And you also have to have very strong convictions. So when you watch something, you need to be singular with your voice, so you're not worried about what anyone else says. And I think that's very essential when it comes to film evaluation. So regardless of what happens here, when we get to Don't Worry Darling next week, I'll see you guys Sunday night, by the way, but when we do Don't Worry Darling, I don't care what anyone else says about the movie. I don't care what the first reactions out of Venice were. In fact, I'm probably not going to read them. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to tell you, does it work at what it's intending to do, and what elements are exemplary, and what elements are not, and is it an awards contender? Okay, all these different lenses, and then we'll figure it out. But you can't buy me. I do not have a price. You could say, hey, Eric, we want you to say this wonderful quote. No way in hell. I would only give you a quote if I believed it. I mean, who cares anyhow? By the way, all these quotes you see on the boxes, we'll talk about this another time because we're running out of time. Like thrilling and emotionally authentic, okay, for Dune. First of all, I would agree with that. But guess how much you make for that? $0. $0 for your quote on a box. It's an ego play. And that's cool if you like that. It's nice. But imagine like you wrote a quote to be on a box and you didn't believe it, right? So like if you asked me a Ghost Story, I would say, spiritually flooring. It's not very good. I would just say symphonically gorgeous. Okay, that would be my quote. Symphonically gorgeous. But you know what? That would be legit. I wouldn't just say that to be on a box. So whatever. Last thing, because I do want to mention this, because I think David's here and with a great one. Emily the Criminal. It's a really good indie film. I totally agree. It Plaza's watchable. Totally. Rebecca Hall Light. Yeah, it's very good. We already talked about Resurrection. That's a film you got to go back. That's a bad shit film. Okay, we can talk about that. Go back. I got to find the episode. But we will listen. We'll be back here on Sunday night. Sunday night. Those of you who commented I didn't get to, hey, listen, I apologize. And I'll get one more on here, Jonathan. Sucks because the Russos are so good at TV comedy. they got to be good at something because they're definitely not good at budgeting films or series. They are studio wreckers. That's what we'll call them. The Russos, the studio wreckers. That's it. They're going to come find me. The next time someone throws something in my car, it will be one of the Russos. That's going to do it tonight for MMT. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you back here Sunday night. As always, be safe, be good. Good night from Los Angeles.